Django, Django.
You have now entered the lab with Elvis Escobar, Fort Sama, episode 37. We got a two-time guest hopping on.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Last time he was on episode 26. So if you figured out who the guest is, if you want to go watch that episode just to get a little refresher, if you didn't, or if you want to kind of get to know kind of the vibes of what he's about, we'll touch on a couple things for episode 37, but let's lock in. Our guest on Enter the Lab is Coreyockk. His album is out now, streaming on however you listen to music these days. You don't have to go to Best Buy like I did back in the day and, cop a $10.99 album. It's very easy on Apple Music and everywhere where you stream. Without further ado, let's get him into the lab and let's chop it up because I'm excited. I've listened to this album all day, and I know Enter the Lab has listened to this album all week.
Absolutely.
So, Coreyockk, Enter the Lab, my brother.
Cheers. Gentlemen.
Cheers.
Gentlemen.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
My boy back in the lab.
Bottle. Each of y'all.
Yes.
Bottle, I guarantee it.
Big Six, baby.
Yes, sir.
Talk to us. What's the, how's it been? It's not your first album. It's not your first project, but, just getting the vibe from you, it feels like almost a rebirth.
Yeah. You like you said, it's not my first album. Definitely not my first project. But it's a lot of firsts for me. A lot. I'll start with just the constant theme of Big Six. If you gave it a spin, you heard a more darker side, but a more truthful side and a more vulnerable side of who I am, and it was, every record was made with an intent to have that come to life, right? For you to get a deeper understanding of what I might have went through with a certain person or in a certain situation or what may have changed me, so it was a rebirth for me musically, and I matured in music, I feel like, with this album. So that's why I'm so proud of it, because it's a totally different sound from everything that I've put out prior, and it's given me a different element to look at in the mirror when I'm rapping, when I'm or when I'm in a studio and I'm trying to lay it, I perform it different, and I just like the energy and the space that is kind of like leading me to a bit,
Yeah, Fort.
Hell yeah. No, I can, bro, I heard the whole thing as I was driving down from Georgia down to South Florida, and
Right.
what you just said, I definitely heard it. Like, you were real personal. You talked about your family, you talked about your kids, you talked about your wife, all that kind of stuff. But before we get into the music, into the album, man, how are you doing? How is Coreyockk as a person? How's everything going, man?
Yeah. I
football
mean,
season coming soon, so I know that's good stuff. But how you doing, bro?
first of all, I appreciate you asking, bro. I appreciate you asking.
Of course.
That is a good question to ask sometimes. Even your closest family
Got
members,
to, bro.
For real.
family members don't ask, like, how you doing today?
Right. Right.
I'm doing.
Sometimes,
I'm honestly, I'm in a space of allowing a bunch of my, fans, supporters, friends, family, peers, into my world a bit. So,
Nice.
that music that I recorded for Big Six was therapeutic for me. It was more than just how it sounded, what features, what beats. It was about the therapy of me kind of dealing with the issues that I've never seemed to present to the world as an artist. So
Okay.
I'm in a bit of a weird space, honestly, sometimes, because before, when I walked into a space, people were saying, yo, that record had me, I was lit at the club, or I was this. And now they're like, wow, I can really relate to how you might have felt in this situation. And these are real situations. So, I just kind of been appreciative of everybody who's been reaching out and just extending themselves, like telling me stories about themselves that I never even knew, based off of what I created, what I gave to them musically. So It's been different for me, the reception of it all. But I kind of like resort back to um just making it about the music and just like continuing to get better. You know what I mean? I'm not getting too big headed about anything really.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Because like sometimes I'll sit back and I know exactly what you're saying with that headspace, and
Yeah.
it's just a thing where you're so locked in on
Hmm.
everything that you're doing, but you don't even know that you're locked in. You're
Right.
just like it's
Right.
just like continuously going because
Right.
in your mind you already have the end result. You know what you want to achieve,
Uh huh.
and you're just going with it. And
Yeah.
I feel like that same thing that you're talking about with your album is kind of what's happening with the pod, because I'm having
Right.
conversations with people that I've never like talked to, and they're
Uh huh.
opening up to me about whatever we may be talking about on a
Right.
weekly thing.
Right.
And
Right.
that's just the beauty of when you create something, when
Hmm.
you build something, and then I'm
It
I'm
means
not
that
really
much.
doing this.
It means
Yeah,
that
I'm
much
not doing it
more.
for myself.
It means that much more.
Exactly. It means so much more because you get that gratification. Oh, this person's actually tuning in. They're listening
Right.
to what we have to say,
Right.
and they
Right.
fuck with it, and that
Right.
just makes you want to go even harder.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So
I know
that
exactly what
that's
you're
been
talking about.
amazing to do. You know what I mean? I love that part of it. And uh I'm anticipating more situations to come, more people to continue to come forward and
Of
give me their
course.
testimonies about my project because the goal, the main goal before anything we go any further was to make you feel something. You
Yep.
were supposed to feel something when you listen to this project. So
Hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's you accomplished that. I mean, I didn't, just getting to know you briefly before we did 26 on
Yeah.
the pod, and then from then seeing you on social media and very personable person. Whether it's on social media, you're not putting too much out there where you're letting people you're living in a glass house, but you're putting enough out there to be a human and
Hmm.
be an artist, and I respect that. And then seeing that conversation from what we had a couple months ago till
Yeah.
now, what we talked about then, and
Yeah.
seeing it audio and visually,
Hmm.
the album's 10 songs,
Yes, sir.
26, 27 minutes,
Hmm.
very easy listen, and I love that because it's quality over quantity. The For me, the little interludes, the little intros, I
Hmm.
love that. One thing that I wrote down was on I remember the first song was and that's my first this is leading to my first question is, God, the number 6 in the Bible, imperfection is the weakness of man. God created man on the 6th day. I used to be a religious person back in the day. I've evolved from that, but I still, number 7 to me is special in a God sense, where it's like God created, the world and then rested on the 7th day and stuff like that. And there's perfection in the 7th. What was that your, in those interludes, was that your thought process in the beginning and then evolved to that? Or how did I know Big Six, we talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but just as a refresher, how did that come about?
Well, okay, yeah. So the interludes, I love. That's why I love album breakdown because I'm all about the music, like the whole event, the whole process of it, right? So when I create projects, I always try to give my fans me in a different space though, through my mother, through my dad, the words and wisdom that they bestowed upon me, and this is what they've created, like, and now I'm giving it to you all, so. And I remember with Big Six, the shout out to Imani Lynn. She is a beautiful person. I knew her since way back when, and she got into a space as of late where she's just kind of on social media and YouTube and different spaces, just giving her testimony, and she inspired me, like just watching her videos and seeing how vulnerable she was willing to be. So in my research in creating Big Six, once I knew the sound and how I wanted to go about presenting this set of music, I wanted to dive into people who are also in that similar space. So I reached out to her, and then she kind of just came with some different religious takes. And she sent me a lot more that I'm going to use on the deluxe too. By the way, that's just a teaser, but
Ooh,
it's going to
okay.
be cool.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and she she kind of just like inspired me. So I decided to put her on there. And I brought in religion. I too have kind of evolved a bit from religion. I'm not gonna sit here and cap, but in being Big Six and talking about it, I wanted to go back to my roots. And I grew up in the church. My
Nice.
mom was in the choir, and I wanted to tap into that space and kind of paint that picture.
Nice.
I love that. That's honest, and that's kind of what I got from it. And in this day and age, I think people are evolving, like we both said, away from it, but also keeping that perspective of it still is alive in us. I think all three of us could say that we were born and raised in a whatever religion. It was big for our parents, but
Right.
when you grow to an adult, you evolve, and
Right.
that shows itself that you at least touched on it, and you're not being fake. You're not trying to be somebody. You're just talking real.
Sorry to cut you off, but like just saying this way, right? Like the opening lines, and I remember it's kind of like a play on that. So I'm glad that you kind of are picking up on you really understood the essence of it. I remember long days in the church, mom and pop trying to pray away the pain and all the hurt. It was a kind of I don't know if I'm saying I don't want to say it was a play on their mind, if you will, and I would watch them in that church Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and just like, wishing on a star a bit. I used to kind of sit back and say, like, question things, So I decided to present that and let people know, like,
Love it.
how I kind of viewed that at that time.
Yeah, no, that bro, like everything you're saying right now, like after hearing the album and what you like spoke on and what you like rapped about, like
Yeah.
it's building up and it's like all really like coming together. Kind of what I want to know is this album, like how you said, it's like so personal to you and it means a lot because of how you're looking back at things in your family.
Yeah.
Was that easier for you to do because it's so personal to you, or when you just go out there and like let's say just make an album about anything else? Is
Well,
that easier? Like
well, that's
what comes?
an excellent question, bro. And honestly, I will say that this form of music that I decided to try out and do some chemistry here and try to switch up the pitch a bit. Um, it was much easier to write, and it made
Okay.
me more confident because I was no longer deflecting. I was reflecting. I was
Right.
letting people know, like, well, this is just me. So if it's hot, if you think it's trash, this is who I am, though.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
so it
Nice.
it, it 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 was much easier to write. So now I had another project that I was working on with another artist, say for example, right? And now I'm gonna. it's like I found a lane that I'm comfortable in and that I can have full confidence in. There's no competition. You can only compete with yourself if you're right. If you're talking about yourself, who am I? Your story, Michael Jordan's story is his story, but LeBron's story is his story. But
Yep.
well, they can't be one another. So that's the space that opened up in my mind a bit as an artist, and I just can't wait to explore it. So like new music is coming in, obviously, and people are reaching out to do projects, and it's like not even just projects, features, whatever. And it's like now I have confidence in a whole different space. So that's how I'm coming. Period. That's
Nice.
just
Yeah.
what it is. Every
You
record.
definitely, yeah, you definitely touched on like some other questions I had, like how did it change you as like not just a person but as a musician, and then
Mhm.
kind of like I wanted to know how the whole feature stuff worked, but I don't know if Ray has anything to like say. I just want to know how like that whole feature works, how you reach out to these artists, how these beat
Yeah.
stuff work, kind of like the behind the scenes that maybe not like
Yeah, I
our
would love you
listeners
to.
probably don't
Yeah,
know how like an album is made or anything like that. I don't know if you want to kind of break
yeah,
that down
yeah.
and
I mean,
just let
I,
everyone know really what's good.
I could definitely comment on it now because in my artistry, I'm still learning so much things about this not just the music, this music business, this industry, right?
Right.
It's an
Yep.
industry, the entertainment industry, some people like to call it, right? So I'm learning to first be an artist, be okay with being an artist, show up with my glasses on if that's what I feel like doing, right? Because that's art, that's artistry, embracing what it is that I want, what I want to chase. You know what I mean? So that's part of it. And then like, you know, Wait, go back to the question again one more time.
About the
Just pretty
features.
much, yeah, just how features work, how you kind of built all that
Who
up.
to promote
Beats,
who's on him? Obviously,
yeah,
Easy Denim, BB, G Luck, Mr. Derek, all those people. Like, how
Yeah.
did you get into having them on the record?
Right. Yeah. So in the feature work, it's for me. It's like when I create music, I have now learned that there is a creative process. There is a
right.
creative process. You know, every some people might need a bottle of champagne. Some people might need some beautiful women. I don't know. You know, whatever it is your thing. There is a creative process in getting into your mode. You know, getting into that deep part of your soul. You know, so with my features, I network all the time. I use social media. For you and I, bro. Like, I mean, like we've connected through
Yeah,
online, like through social media, you know. And I use social media to link up with different artists and people who are serious about the craft. A lot of dudes who even have a buzz aren't serious about the craft enough to want to kind of like network or collaborate with someone who may be beneath them in views, but not
of
may
course.
not be in artistry, but they don't even
Smart.
really give it a chance, you know. So I reach out to artists when my records are pretty much done. That's number one. That's one part. Because I like full control of my creativity, right? And then it's up to the feature artist to tell me like, oh, I can rock with this or I can't. And I think the important part about featuring too is you have to be able to accept a no. It's not only be, you know, people are not saying no maybe because the record's not hot. It could just be not for them. You know, I've said no to artists where the record's just not for me. The thing that the topic of discussion here is not really something that I kind of dabble in.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even want to bless the record with something totally off what you're on. You know what I mean? So I move like that when I'm working with artists. And for the most part, I'm gonna put this out here. I do free work. You know, this is a sport to me. I want it. You know, I want it. I want it all. So you know, if somebody come rapping in my face, it's gonna be a 16 coming right back at you. That's kind of like
Nice.
how I like grew up. You know, I played football all my life. I played basketball all my life, baseball. I played everything, and I was very competitive all my life. So you know, that's kind of how it works with the featuring and stuff like that.
Nice.
And then if you're dope and you fit the description of the record, I get on my DJ Khaled, my P Diddy, and be like, you know, hitting people up like, sweetheart, please, I really need you on this
Yeah.
record. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you know, whatever your fee is, I'll pay for you to come in the video. You know, I really hold a lot of production, and I kind of try to run everything like a label, be professional, on time. You know,
Of
make
course.
sure people understand how serious I am about this.
I love
Yeah.
that you said DJ Khaled because that boy is unashamed for his whole career of
Yeah,
asking,
yeah,
because if you hear no, maybe you ask another way, but and then you battle the line of becoming annoying, but also when other artists see that passion in you and you have
yeah.
that creativity and a gift, they don't think of you as annoying. They just think of only the good in it, and I love that you said that. My question next is, I have a couple like quotes written down as I'm listening to the album today, writing some things down. And one thing I loved, I forgot what song it was because I heard it, and then I just wrote it down. I love the verse or the chorus of my worst day is better than your best day. What song
Yeah.
is that on?
That's called Worst Day.
Yeah, it's called
Okay.
Worst
Worst
Day. Yeah.
Day. Yup,
Yeah.
yup,
All
yup.
right,
You
dude,
Yeah.
I love that because it really is something it's so cocky and confident, but it also is, in my opinion, like shows humility. Meaning, like I grind so hard, I work so hard that it is what the quote is exactly. You don't have to break down the quote, and it could be viewed as cocky, but you could also view it as the other side. So, talk to me about that as far as that song and also that verse or
Yeah,
that chorus in there.
worst day, my worst day. I swear it's better than your best day. You know, it was that was the last record I recorded for the album. That was the last vibe that I felt in the studio, just sitting there, keep sequencing, changing the order of the songs, just doing stuff.
That's an art in itself, bro.
Yeah.
I was booking 4-hour sessions. My engineer was staring at me. I was staring at him like, just play it again. Just it's all right. I'm paying. We're
Dog.
paying. Everything's fine. You know. So worst day. it just I got a new beat pack from one of the main producers, Young Sacha. He's from India. Shout out to him. Him and I connected online.
There you
And
go.
we've been working since Drive, my last project. And he has a few on here, probably the most on the album right now. Again, so shout out to him. He sent me a beat pack and he kept DMing me on Instagram like, Corey, you need to check that. Fitz, you need to check that. So I opened a folder in the studio and I just heard that beat. And I heard that beat. And I just kept hearing that beat. I didn't rap in the studio. I went home. I went to work the next day. On my morning to work, I wrote that verse. I went to the studio that night and I recorded it. Sent it to my wife, sent it to a few homies, and everyone was like, gotta be on there. Gotta be on
Yeah.
there. The record's tone and sound was definitely something that I did not have on the album. It was not, I had to give him one where I was just talking dirty, just talking spicy, you know, like, just close the DM with Sauce Walker, who said I got the talent, but my following need to be stronger, so I'll find a balance. Digging deep up into your soul is how you find a challenge. Milk the game for all it's worth. I do it by the gallon. You know,
yeah, I like that. Yo, that's I just listened to it. I'm like, dog, yes, that's the one.
Need to step up. They depend on me. They got nobody. So expect what? That carpet alpaca can't blot it because it's that plush. You know,
ooh,
just
Denzel.
You know that it's I still like Khaled, right?
Right.
We're still in the meeting. You know what I mean? So once I got that tone on that record, I knew I had to continue. And the worst day thing was just a play on it, like just saying like I'm saying I'm having one of the worst days, but it's really one of my best days.
Yeah.
You know? So
I can relate to that a lot in my recent life, man. I feel so blessed every day where it's like, even literally that word for word, and that stuck out to me. You know, like you said in the beginning of the episode, is feel something, right? You hear words, you hear a vibe, and it relates, or it doesn't. But that stuck out to me right away, where I got to my notes app and I had to write that down because I was like, geez, sometimes I feel like I had a quote unquote bad day, but I'm like, I look back and I hear other people's days, and I'm just like, I literally had a better day than you, and I don't even view it.
People
say it again?
All the time. They say like, "Oh, you know, you're having a bad day. Think about what someone else is going through."
Yep.
Like, so that was
for real.
The whole idea of the record. Once I started to vibe with it, I was like, "Okay, this is how I'm going to write it." Yeah.
I like that. My last question before you go forward is on Ray Charles. I wrote this down because I don't know if I got the word wrong, but I got most of it. There's only one word that I think I couldn't tell when I listened back on it was the labeling. The labeling will come, but it should never. Did it say define or defy you?
Defy you. Defy.
Okay.
You. It should never defy you.
Because I like.
It will come, but it never should defy you. Just hold you to a standard, take advantage. They gonna try to. Well-respected black men in a Beamer when I glide through. Yeah.
Because the way I looked at it was, if I looked at it as, because I wrote define, and then in parentheses I put defy. So I listened to it 3 times in a row, and I was like trying to pick up, and and obviously on Apple, I don't know what the situation is. It didn't have the lyrics listed yet or whatever.
They made me revise a few things, but it'll be up by Friday. Yeah,
all good. Because I love to listen to, sometimes or not, most of the time I like to listen to a First Loop album by itself, no words, and then I like to watch, read along with it. And the first time I heard it was the label will come, but should never let it define you. And I looked at that at first was, don't let it become you. Don't look for the label to justify who you are as a person. And then now you say defy. I can look at it the same way. Like to me, either word works for me. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. And to be honest, that's like, it's the beauty of music. If you hear the record Chain, people are saying some people were saying
that's my third favorite song, by the way.
Said maybe track. Couple feature the artists who were on there came in there and thought that, so I'm like if you thought I said that or if you did, that's the best part about it. Like, it's just like the world may never know, so
I love it. No, that's good, man. That makes me, but think about what I did when I heard it. I wrote it down, I thought about it, I listened to it a few times. Like I said, if the lyrics was up, I would have.
I'm sorry, but the bar is about the label and, you know, whatever society, whoever they are, what we all like to say, they're going to try to paint a picture of you and tell you what you are. You know, that could be the label, that could be the network, that could be whatever it is trying to tell you, like, hold up, buddy, this is what you are, so start acting. You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why you can't let it define you. You know, define you. Like it really was define you, but it can never define you. Just hold you to a standard. Take advantage. They're gonna try to. I'm a well-respected black man in a Beamer when I glide through. You know what I mean? And this shit seemed to fuck them up. Let my daughter out for tennis. Parents wondering what the fuck is up. That's real. That's when we get into, you know, that's real.
Jeez, I feel the energy and the passion. I love it. It's exactly what I needed.
And that's the part that I like about doing interviews about the album, because now I get to let people really understand the meaning behind the records too. You know, so good.
Yeah, no, that, man, the energy and everything that you brought to the album it's just different, bro. Because like all I listen throughout the day is like rap music, but like people, they'll make rap music, they'll make music just to get money or whatever. But like when I listened to your shit, I was like, yo, this dude is like, it's him. Like this is what he does. Like everything was just like on point on it. And there was a part that stood out to me. I forget what song it was, but you're like, first take, we usually do 3 takes. And then like I was like, that kind of stuck with me, but I forget exactly what you said. I gotta like just go back and listen to it.
Yeah, it's about like, the execution and all that. Yeah, exactly. You know, like basically
break that down a little bit.
Basically,
that's something that everyone needs to know. I was like, I heard it. I was like,
yeah,
this is life stuff. Like it may be on a rap album, but this is something I could put into work. I could put into the gym. I could put into the pod. Like everything.
Yeah, you know, usually I say that pretty much. Like I talk into the microphone a lot when I'm about to spit my verse. And my engineer, you know, we've been locked in for so long now. He knows better than to keep, you know, a lot of the nonsense that I'm talking before I'm about to spit something that I think is just like fire. You know what I mean? So when I heard the tape, because you know, you off a vibe in the studio, I get into my mode and I'm like completely locked in. When I heard it back, I was like, wow, this is like really a peek into like my creative process. And I think the fans will appreciate it. You know, so the first take usually it takes 2, you know, that. Basically what it is when I rap my verse, I rap it first, I'll get it out. If it's 50 bars, I practice it so much that I can get it out in that first take, the very first one. And then I'll sit there and I'll say, run it again. I'll do it again. Now I have a little more confidence. And I'm feeling like the delivery is dope. Then the third time is always the one that I keep it. And it happens like that pretty much every record. No lie. Because I practice
I feel like
at home in my studio, and then I go to the real studio, and I use my money and my time better when I've perfected the records, all the way down to the ad libs. I know I can make most of my time in the studio better, opposed to me, you know, doing all that stuff, you know, in there and paying for it. That's like,
of course, yeah.
The one thing talking to you, you know, just to keep it real, organic, and raw is similar to me, and we've never met, is you have a reason behind, even if you don't know it at the time, reflecting back, you do know a reason eventually for what you do. So we're asking you questions and you have no idea what we're asking, because we on Enter the Lab, this is what we do. We have people on. We're not gonna send you 15 questions of what we're gonna ask, and we'll never do that. But the fact that we're able to have a dialogue and a conversation of some questions written down, some questions not, but like you said, you love to do interviews to reflect on an album or a project, and I love seeing it be done organically right now in live time, because I'm seeing you come up with answers to questions you probably never even thought of. You know what I mean? And that's how you know this album was real. It was personable, because somebody that faked it, that it wasn't them, they'd have to think long and hard about these questions and answers, you know?
Yeah, you know, and that's again, like, you know, I'm never going to act like I'm not a well-rounded individual. I try to be, you know, So So that's how I was raised. You know, that's how my mom and my dad brought me up. My brother, my sister, my aunts. I was raised by a lot of women, people who taught me like, be you. You know, be you. If you know, talk how you want to talk, but have confidence. You know what I mean? So I love doing interviews because it's like I get to be myself and present myself to a platform of which so happened to be my brothers. But even if y'all were strangers, you know, it would be still the same thing because I'm not in it to be unhappy in this shit. Excuse my language. I want to enjoy I want to be at peace when I make it to where I'm trying to go. You know, I'll say this too. Um, Early on in my career, I had a lot of good moments. You know, I performed at some big venues. I did a lot. Did radio before. I did a bunch of things. You know, but I wasn't conforming to rapping Murder One or drill, if you will. I wasn't doing it, you know. And the main reason is, well, for one, I think if I would have did it, I probably would have been on much, a while back prior to not still being where I want to be, right? You know, but because of the look and just, the overall way that I can execute it, but I would be unhappy in the industry if that was the case. I would not be happy in doing and performing those records. So I'd rather just stick to it and keep my head down and continue to get better and do it like that and present myself on platforms like y'all and just, get it off and let people in a little bit.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's good stuff. I know you were saying that like you're already back working and you're already back grinding. I know you gotta like sit down and kind of look back and be like, damn, like celebrate, man. Like like after a team wins a championship, like they're like, oh, we're gonna celebrate, we're gonna have fun, but we're gonna get back to work. Like, how long do you take from once you're done with the project, like the one you just dropped? You sit back, reflect, promo it, market it, do everything you got to do.
Right.
And what's next? Like, what are your next moves? What are you already cooking up? Because I know you're not just sitting back cooling. I know you're not.
Excellent question, bro. No, I'm never sitting back, but I'll say this, the prior projects definitely set back. We're going to be truthful. We're going to be truthful all the way through. Definitely put projects out there, add videos for them, put a little bit in marketing. But after that, waited for something to just fall on my doorstep. This time, I've been working on this since about March. So everything behind the scenes is on paper in front of my face. Like I have docs that I wrote, pages and hours of content that people hasn't seen. I planned this strategically. So now with this project, I feel like I have press button ability, right? To be like, okay, they're reacting to this, they're reacting to that. Now let's drop that. I feel like I really put the work in on the business side of this album. So I'm that much more locked in with pushing this project and giving it a shot, really going for it in the sense of growing from this part of my career that I'm at. I want to see it at a different height stemming from this project. But having my own studio in the house is just amazing. And that was my engineer who I pay, who told me like, Corey, you should probably do this, right? Because you record so much. I mean, you want to be here so much, that you could be using your time more wisely, staying with your kids, your family, whatever it is, and have it in the house. So
is that where you're at right now?
I'm home. Yes, I'm in my home. Yup, I'm in my home, in my studio. My man cave, if you will.
The lab,
bro. You're in the lab.
Yeah, bro.
You're in the lab, baby.
Yeah, bro. So and just real quick on that side,
if you're watching, ooh,
hey, that's fire.
If you're watching, he's showing a nice little jersey. What is that? The Blackhawks?
Yeah, that's the Blackhawks, but this from years ago. But just that number one.
I like that.
All that matters,
I love it, dude. And is Dad officially? First of all, obviously, Dad. If I didn't know and you didn't post a video or a little teaser within the last couple of weeks, if I didn't know that was a single, that would be my choice for a single. And man, is that real? Like you say your full government name on there.
Yes, sir.
You talk about memories with your pops, which in hip hop and men, we don't talk about our dad too much. Let's be honest. We don't. Whatever your situation may be, we're not giving them that elevation, and the fact that you were able to put your dad on. Talk about, is that a single? Is that your first single? And then talk about, give your dad some shine in this.
Yeah. Well, with the dad record, right? I'll be honest. I had a different approach that I was going to take, right? Because we have a lot of everything already loaded up, right? So I had a different approach that I was going to take, a totally different record that I was going to go. I won't say what it is now because it ain't even necessary, right? So, we talked about the date on episode 26. We talked about August 18th.
Mm-hmm.
And all I kept thinking about leading up into this album, once the project was done, once the features were set in, the music was presented, all I kept thinking about was like, I want to change that single. I want it to be on my dad's birthday. And his birthday is August 18th. I want that record to be the focus of this project, because he's the dude that told me, you hear it in the record, but he's the guy that taught me everything I know, man. Everything I know. And if I'm going to step out here with this type of sound and this type of truth for me as an artist, I should use the dad record and let that video drop and let him get that shine on his 61st birthday. And
man, my man was moving, looking like Uncle Phil playing pool. You know what I mean?
Look, we got the first shot. The first shot we took. My dad is not a man of few words. He's not that guy. First shot we took, he was like kind of stiff. I said, all right, give him a second.
Mm-hmm.
I got him 2 beers. And after that, he was like, yeah, all right, let's go.
You see him moving.
He ended up beating me. I was kicking his butt.
So you were playing actual pool? You were playing pool?
We were actually playing, and he ended up beating me.
That's funny.
Yeah, and that was kind of how he heard the record. I had never played it for him.
That's dope.
And I was going over my parents' house, to be with him and just kick it with him anyway. So I was like, you know what? I'll put it in. Yep. And he loved it. He loved it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
And that record. I'm sorry. I wanted to elaborate on my dad.
Go ahead.
My dad is a person, like I said, a man of few words. And then if you listening to the first verse of that record, that was how he taught Little Coreyockk, like I said, and I'll say it again.
Full
Last
government.
name I inherit, a bond that I'm never breaking. I'll carry with merit. It's that essence was like, my dad taught me how to brush my hair. He taught me how to tie my shoes, how to talk to a girl.
Important.
All of these different things, and seeing what he's been going through. He's been in and out the spittle lately, scaring me. Made me question all my moves and what I plan to be. The first time I ever seen your transparency, the pain of reality is completely overbearing me. We are supposed to see the coast and go to Fiji. He trying to overcompensate. He having diabetes.
Yeah.
Like, those things I wanted him to know and hear, not just hear me talk to him or be with him. I wanted him to hear it through my music because he knows what it means to me. So I decided to make that as the single. And yes, that's the official single of Big.
Got you. Got for
it. My father. He was one in a million.
Yeah, I heard that. And have y'all ever seen Adam Sandler movie Big Daddy?
Yeah, that's my favorite. One of my favorites.
Of course.
Bro, I was listening to that, and then all of a sudden I started thinking about the scene when they're in their courtroom and his dad comes in and he's like, "Oh, if anyone is gonna say that I shouldn't have a kid, it's this guy right here." And then everyone in the courtroom just starts picking up their phone and they start calling the dad. And they're like, "Dad, I love you, Dad, I love you."
For real. You listen to that record, you're like, you start thinking things that, like, there's not a lot of artists out there that are putting out for their dad like that,
Yeah, yeah. And, he deserves it, like I said. Him and my mom have been married 40 years. That's my OG. Nice. Like I said, he told me I'm ineffective. I reap when I'm mad. He was truthful with me. He told me as a young kid, like, you can get angry, you can have your outbursts, but it's not going to get you nowhere. He taught me a lot about myself in ways that I don't think if I didn't have him, I would have known. I would have been oblivious to it, So make it the record, dad, shoot the video, let my dad stunt a little bit. Bro,
man. Let him shine.
Yeah, he was just flexing. I was like, okay, all right, I see you, so. Yeah,
that was great. It had a little bit of everything, the video. And if you guys are listening to this, this episode right now, obviously after this, go check out on YouTube. What is it on the
YouTube, Devo, Apple Music, Dad video is out right now. You can stream it. You can also buy it on iTunes. It's $1.49. I didn't set that price point either, friends, but you can definitely buy it and have it in your storage and play it and use that record. Feel free. It's a personal record for sure, but feel free to use that record and be inspired to big your dad up and give your dad his flowers, just like you would want someone to give you as a father, especially if you're a father. So it's definitely that record. I feel like I'll play that record at my dad's funeral someday. I'll God forbid, God willing, but I'll play that record, and I'll have that record in that moment when we shot that video to have forever. So I love
absolutely, yeah. And if you want to catch it on YouTube, it's on After Cash Records YouTube page. Subscribe, listen, but
and Coreyockk.com as well.
That's what that was, man, see, this is how we're vibing, because that was what I was, wrapping up this episode. We appreciate you, with the time, the energy, and, what you have going on. We did want to leave it with Coreyockk.com. Tell us about that and, what you intend to do with that.
Yeah. So Coreyockk.com, like we were doing, talking off air, Coreyockk.com is just my domain. That's my space. That's the place where you can go to find everything After Cash Records, everything Coreyockk. I'll tell everyone now too, just because we in the lab, I have a little tour that'll be set up. And I say little tour because we starting from the ground up, and I'm embracing that. I'm loving it. I'm loving everybody that's joining in on the elevator. We all going up. So I have a tour that's set up in 5 different states that we're going to be traveling to. My team. In addition to a bunch of my friends, family, and supporters, we all mobbing, and it's scattered around the tri-state area, Delaware, New Jersey, and Philly, New Jersey, Delaware, and then we're also going to DC, and we're trying to see what's up with New York, So just be on the lookout for that. And Coreyockk.com is where you can find all of my merchandise that's about to come out, any video links. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, even TikTok. So Coreyockk.com is something that I'm trying to build another platform for me outside of these main socials that who knows what could end up happening.
Yeah. Hey, that's important, bro, because some motherfuckers out here getting censored and don't know what to do. They getting banned.
Have to have your own.
Hey, you gotta have your own,
I mean, I see, and that's the thing, as artists, you got to do your research, man. You got to look at these guys that were making millions, hundreds of thousands, off of these platforms, and they're just getting booted for, who knows what, if they want to do it, they can, because you don't own it, it doesn't belong to you,
Yep.
So it's you should do your research and check that out and try to get yourself a space where, you can be safe.
Absolutely, man.
You more excited about Eagles season or Sixers season coming up?
What,
gotta pick one.
Everybody, you got to pick one, and everybody who has their team, especially if you're a homer, wherever you stay, you have the team. It's structured, right? It's the some people it's the Phillies, it's the Eagles, it's the Flyers, whatever it is. For me, it's the Eagles. Like I bleed it. Like I can't. I have that's why I got the man cave. Because when they lose, when things ain't going right, I'd rather just be up here because I don't want to ruin anyone's time, So I'm waiting for the Eagles. AJ Brown out there, Moss and people, go check that out. Philadelphia Eagles Instagram, if you like, all of you. We're allowing people to come in, but like we talked about on episode 26, Jalen Hurts, he's the key. He needs to show up. And I got faith in him. He's looking good out there. I'm seeing the tweets, Elvis Short Parks, everybody, but Jalen Hurts got to show up. And I think we'll be all right after that. So I'm excited about that. The Sixers, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I'll hold back on my. Hey, if that goes down, Corey, we'll have you back on, and we'll get spicy on this podcast because we'll have a lot to talk about.
Bro, we have a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about.
Hell yeah.
So we appreciate you coming on with us. Obviously, Big Six album out. Go make sure you check it out on YouTube, like we said throughout the episode. Apple Music. Obviously Coreyockk.com. Make sure. What do you got? Merchandise? You got all that stuff on there too?
Yeah. So I made a joke the other day to my wife. I said, we rolling this out like the red carpet. Y'all gonna enjoy it. Y'all gonna go on my ride. Y'all gonna ride the ride. Hey, give me, you know, you're gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, the merchandise is coming. It's very special, designed by my sister, someone I truly adore, Abby, Naya, Tiny Black Garden. I love her so much. And she is working behind the scenes diligently on just further and whatever my mind is. I'm just literally talking to her and she's just creating. So I just love her so much and shout out to her. So the merchandises will be coming out next. The tour dates, the different dates that I'll be at, the different venues that'll be after, and more videos and visuals, and they get more special. And very theatrical. Let's say that. So I can't wait for y'all to see that.
Hell yeah.
Love it. Let's end it on.
Get it.
Let's end it on that. Episode 37. Elvis Escobar, Fort Sama, Coreyockk. Huh?
Did y'all want any bars? I'm locked in.
Boom.
Hey, bless us, bro.
I was gonna ask you to bless us, but I didn't want to put you on. Let's go. End it on this.
Bless us.
I said, I want to give my all to this shit. It's about establishing a legacy, not frosting the wrist. We was kids playing tag in a hall full of piss. You start to fake your way through life, you'll see how awkward it gets. That's why you give max effort. Gator game my life, I ink my name in with a feather. Gold and platinum records, I'ma let that be my treasure. Sipping Clico on the beach in February, switch the weather. Yeah, fourth quarter, he gon' pass, I'ma shoot. I ain't these hitters that be tweeting what they don't actually do. He would've stopped what he was doing if he had him a clue. Instead, he reassured the shit that you initially knew. Oh, man. We locked in.
Come on, dog.
We locked in.
Jeez. We appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers. Absolutely. Episode 37. Coreyockk, Big 6. Album out now. Enter the lab.
Oh.
Exit the lab. Peace, my brother.